All right, so this episode is going to be called Inside Metrics, Insider Shopify Metrics. I'm gonna do an entire series on this because, like, when you work in the Shopify field, and I consider this like a real field because it's genuine, it's real people making money. Like, you know, a lot of people when they think of Shopify, they just think of like affiliates, or they think of like, oh, these struggling business owners, or some guys who's just struggling to run a business. So that's why I made this series, because my job is to generate money for big businesses. That's literally what I do. So when you have that skill set, you get insider information about things and businesses that most people don't know about. So basically, I'm gonna talk about like metrics or like factors that successful businesses have that just get people's brains going, and I think it's kind of entertaining. So let's talk about million. Let's talk about like 1 million. So let's say a billion. I like to talk about the $1 million mark because the $1 million mark is just a good place to talk about. It's a good mark in regards to comparing one business to another and comparing profits and like how much their ad budget, how much they're making from their ad budget, how many ads are they running, like even like how many Instagram followers somebody might have, or like the average cost of their products if they're making $1 million. What product costs? What average product costs does most businesses have that are making $1 million or close to $1 million? And since it's just a triple or 6-0 marker, it's easy to talk about like percentages and halves, and just people can understand like $500,000 or $250,000 or $750,000 or just $1 million or no million, right? 10% of $1 million, 25% of $1 million. Like your brain automatically can calculate that quickly. So I like to focus on that number. So let's talk about the average cost of $1 million Shopify store. Like, what's the average cost of their products? When you think of like, oh, this store has makes $1 million, right? What are their, like, what's the cost of their products? Because everybody talks about, should I start a general store? I'm speaking in regards to like somebody who don't have a store at all, and they thinking about making a store and they're trying to make money. So I'm looking at our reports, and when you talk about the average cost of a product, and I'm looking at the companies that make $1 million online, right? So if they make, so we're speaking from like, let me look at the list. So we're looking at like 400,000 to 3 million. And what are the average cost of the product that they make that much money? A lot of people will be like, oh, they got to be selling high ticket. Their products got to be like 10,000 or 1,000 for them to make that much money. And you are far from wrong. So let's talk about it. So just looking at the list, the companies that make $1 million, right, on a yearly, let me see let me see. So I think this is annually, so a year. So we're talking $1 million a year, right? So the average cost of their products, actually, this is month. So this is $1 million a month, right? So they're making $1 million a month. because, okay, so we're talking about $1 million a month. So they're making let's go by year. I think this is yearly. I'm going to have to edit this sheet. So let's just say this is yearly, just to be safe. Because if I say it's a month, then it's going to confuse people. So let's just say this is $1 million. Let's just say a month. Let's just say this is a month. Because I'm looking at my sheet and it just says revenue. But it shows the monthly traffic. So it shows how much traffic they're getting a month. So let's just go by monthly. So let's just say they're making $1 million a month. So the average cost of a product, on average, if they're making $1 million, is $50 a product. So all their products cost $50 on average. Now this is on average. Like you got some making 300 USD. You got some making 25 USD making $1 million. You got some 45. You got some average cost of the product is 90. You got some average cost of the product is 70. But if I took all of these numbers for the average cost of product and I made a mean to it, or I averaged it, I would say it would probably be like 50 USD or like 50 to 60, just to be safe. So 50 to 60 USD is the average cost of a product that's making average cost of a product of a store that's making $1 million a year or $1 million a month, however you want to put it. Because we're just talking about the average cost of products. So let's talk about what are they doing to make this. Let's talk about, okay, so the average cost of the product is 50, right? Which is, if you just think about, let me look at like what they're selling. Let me look at the type of shops. So you got vape shops. So that you got vape shops, you got maternity shops, you got jewelry shops, you got book shops, you got gear shops, you got tea shops, you got like motorcycle, like grip, like gloves. You got pet shops. So you got tablecloth shops, right? So that explains why something would be $50. Well, on average, it would be 50. Because that's just a good number. Like, even if you think of something, like even if it's jewelry, like you can sell like any jewelry for $50 to 1,000 or 5,000. Like jewelry is like 50 to 1,000. But everything in general covers the $50 mark. Like even if you're selling clothing, like a hoodie is 50, right? You can sell a shirt for 50. You can sell shorts for, 20 to 50. You can sell jackets for 50. So 50, I understand why most of these stores are selling at 50 on average with $1 million, right? At $1 million a month or $1 million a year, no matter how you slice it. So let's talk about what they're doing, right? So most of it, so let's talk about, I always talk about TikTok and how everybody is starting to use TikTok, right? So most of these companies who make $1 million, right? They're running, none of them are running any more than 10 YouTube ads. So they're running on average 2 YouTube ads, 2 or 3 YouTube ads. And it's funny because if you look at it, it's either like low or high. Like nobody, like one person or 2 people are running 7 YouTube ads. And a lot of people are running like 1 or 2 YouTube ads. Which goes with what I was saying. Like YouTube for Shopify is like not, it's good, but it's not all of that. Like, so let's talk about a Facebook. Now that's a different story. So on average, I'm looking at it now. So on average, they're running at least 10 ads at least 10 on average. I see some running 41 ads, some running 53 ads, some was running 95 ads. So it says this guy's running 95 ads and he's making $2 million at 95. Hold on, 95 ads. I want to see how much he's making. So for 95, he's running 95 Facebook ads and he's making 1 million, right? So he's probably like highly optimized. Highly. So let me look at some of the low end. So this one's running one Facebook ad and they're making 400K. 400K at one Facebook ad. Here's another one that's running one Facebook ad and they're making 400K. So if the less Facebook ads they're running, the less they're making. It seems that I'm not saying that's the scenarios. I'm just saying from what I'm looking at, the ones who are running, well, this one's running 3 ads, so you can't go by that. This one's running 8. This one's running 8 ads, so it seems like the people who are. So this one's running 25. Let me see. This one's running 25 ads, Facebook, and they're making 730K. So, yeah, it seems like the more ads they're running, they're more optimized. So I'm guessing that's why they're selling more, because they're more optimized. They're more skilled because they understand the snowball effect. They understand that the more we run, the more the snowball effects increases, because you're not going to run 22 ads with a casino mindset. Like, because you're gonna optimize for different things. So let's just say you run 22 ads, and the difference between those ads, where am I at? So I'm at 12 minutes. Yeah, this is gonna be like a long series, because this is a good series. It's good to talk about metrics, because especially these types, because I don't want this show to be about like me just rambling about life and psychology. I wanted to stick to educating people about like Shopify and digital marketing without drifting too much. So I wanted to stay educational. So back to, we were talking about Facebook ads and like the casino mindset. So if you're running a lot of ads and you have a casino mindset, you're really going to lose a lot of money, because if you don't snowball it. Now, if you run a lot of ads and you snowball it, then you have an advantage at a faster pace, because you're optimizing for different things at a mass scale. So let's just say you're optimizing for a state. So you're doing Texas, Florida, California, and Ohio, right? So the Texas, Florida, and so that's 4 ads, right? So you're running 4 ads. Let's just call it a state campaigns, different state campaigns. And you run it for 5 months or 5 or 6 months. And you keep optimizing by, let's just say these people are not interested, or this income doesn't work. So you raise the income a little bit. And then now you're selling more. You're like, okay. And then you was like, oh no, this income was too high, so let's go low. So over time, you're going to find the right trigger, I guess you could call it. So you're going to find the right trigger that triggers the right metric boost, or metric boost triggers the right income boost. So boom, now you're optimized through the snowball. So you snowball for 6 months through optimization, and now the revenue goes up. That explains why the people who's running more ads are making more money, because they optimized. If they're making more ads, more than likely they optimize if they were smart. But if they just have one ad